Hey there, everybody. Today I wanted to give a little bit of extra help to those of you who are thinking about auditioning for All State this year. And if I'm not mistaken, one of the selections for the All State music this year is the A minor Sarabande by Johann Sebastian Bach. For me, it's very important that a student and anyone who's going to perform a piece of music really knows where that piece of music comes from, or what the composer was, his intentions were for writing the piece. This piece is not just some ordinary etude that's in an etude book. It's a very important piece in our flute repertoire because it's from a Partita that Johann Sebastian Bach wrote for us flute players. Johann Sebastian Bach wrote several partitas for the violin. In fact, I have some here that are my husband's. And it's really a good idea for any flutist to listen, or any musician actually, to listen to those partitas. They're just amazing works of art. And this one is the only surviving, we're not really sure if there was the only one, but it's really the only one that we have now, that Johann Sebastian Bach wrote for us flutists. And the sarabande is just a piece of the partita. There's four, what they call, it's a sort of a dance suite. So there's four different, I guess you could call, movements. And the sarabande is the slow and graceful, as you can see here. Johann Sebastian Bach lived, he was born in 1685 and he died in 1750. And that's basically the Baroque era. And if you want to know more about him, I suggest don't just Google. You know, I know a lot of people love Google, so they're going to Google him. But you can go to your local library. And in fact, if you're from Marion Parish, which is where I'm from, the Abbeville Library does have the New Grove. Actually, in Natchitoches, they also have the New Grove. And you can go to your librarian and ask where they are. But the New Grove is this amazing encyclopedia, which you can read about all sorts of composers and styles of work, and it's a great resource, and I wish I had known about that when I was younger. So I really wanted to do this YouTube sort of tutorial, this video, for all of you who may not have the opportunity to have private lessons, or you just want like a little bit of extra help on this music. And there's so many things to talk about in this, because this is just not your regular ordinary etude. This is a really important piece of art in our flute repertoire. So basically it was written around, they seem to think, around the 1720s. And it was not written for a flute like this. It was not written for this cool silver flute with keys. It was written for a flute like this, basically. And this isn't the exact flute. This is a copy, and it may have been an added key. However, as you can see, it's just some little bitty holes, and like the embouchure, you can see is like the embouchure holes like really small. So, and the intonation of this instrument is different. It's about 415, and we normally tune our flutes to 440 or 442, sometimes 442. And to change the intonation, which is really interesting about these Baroque flutes, they would have like an extra joint to put in to make it higher, or so, but that's a whole nother video on that. However, I did want to compare the sounds so that you understand what this was originally written for, the instrument that it was originally written for. So I'm just going to play the first 1, 2, 3, 4 measures on both instruments. So I'm not going to record the entire Sarabande for you all, because there's so many amazing, there's like thousands of recordings of this by so many amazing flutists. You just need to search them. They're on YouTube, the majority, if you don't have iTunes, or if you can't, purchase them. So basically the first 4 measures, if I was just to play it on, this nice Ramatsu, that's basically what it sounds like. Compared to this instrument, which it was originally written for. So I'm going to play a couple of notes first so that you can sort of hear the sound of this instrument. Maybe this is an A minor, sort of a very, I don't want to say sad, but it's a very different color. And another thing about this instrument, which I'm just learning, like I was a couple of months, maybe I haven't yet reached a year of lessons on this, so, and I really have to thank my teacher for having the patience of teaching me this instrument. The fingerings are different. There's so much difference about it. It's not meant to be blown with a lot of strength and a lot of force. These instruments they weren't meant to be played in a huge hall. They were meant to be played in small rooms or chamber, and with just simple audiences. And there's something that I would really like to say about A minor. So there's so much research being done lately, but A minor, and I have this wonderful sheet that my teacher gave me. A minor is actually tender and plaintive. So when you're playing this, you might want to even write this on your music. You should think of A minor as being tender and plaintive, because in the Baroque era and even before that, they really believed in a piece of music, a movement, having a certain affect, or it's a certain sensation or emotion that would be brought on by performing the piece of music. So that's what the A minor would be. And also these works were from dance suites, and there's actually, you can look on YouTube, everything's on YouTube, it's amazing, or you can Google it. There's actually dance steps. I don't want to say that this sarabande has dance steps. That's not what I'm saying. That there were dance steps to this French Baroque. And you can kind of imagine, like Google it, see what they were wearing during that time, and make it fun. This is another way to get rid of nerves. It's what I love about music and about playing these sort of, especially older works. It's kind of like time travel, you can go back into time. You can really try to imagine yourself during that time and what they wore and the different, you can look up the dances, because there are people who actually wear costumes and know exactly how they danced and spoke, and it's really, really interesting. So you can almost, really be creative and put yourself in that era. So I'll try to play a little bit of basically just the first 4 measures. And the original, if you look at, there were no articulations, there were no slurs, but it should be this nice continuous line. And with this, it's just a different sound. So here's a little bit of that. So you can see it's a very sort of ooey sound. And you may be wondering, what are the judges looking for? That's a great question. I would also like to know that. It's a great thing to think about when you're going into any type of audition, especially all state solo and ensemble. Basically solo and ensemble, you should go in and just play your solo like it's yours. But for all state, you have to realize that they chose slow lyrical work and a fast sort of technical work. And later I'll do a video on the scherzo. But this should be your best sound. Now, vibrato was not used. It was used in the Baroque era. However, it was used as an ornament. It was used as just sort of a flourish. It wasn't. I don't think you should begin this A minor sarabande with. That's not really what this piece is. You should really focus on having a very clear and clean sound, and that's what you're trying to show here. That you have very fluid lines, that your fingers are very fluid, and that you have this lovely color to give on this piece. So I'm not saying you shouldn't use vibrato, but you should use it very sparingly. You should really think about where you're going to put it and where to be expressive. This is where a private teacher would probably help a lot. Also, you should really, like I said, you should learn the entire sarabande because it's a really beautiful, beautiful piece. And there are some corrections to be made to this. I don't know if, I guess this is from the Voxman or the Brubank. I don't know if they've made, like if the newer editions or if there are newer editions. I was a 4-year Louisiana All-Stater, and the sets were still there when I was a Louisiana All-Stater, and that's crazy because that was like so many years ago. But there are some corrections to be made, and I'll try to maybe list those later. For instance, this is after the repeat. There's a D where there should be a D where there's a C, and there should be a C where there's a D. So really, I hope this video helps anyone out there who's aspiring to, audition for All State. Go for it. If you don't try, you'll never know. I know it can be really competitive. It can be really overwhelming. In some later videos, I'll go over scales and sight reading and just some tips. And I mean, I grew up in a swamp. I grew up south of Abbeville, like in Esther, like on the way to Intracoastal City, if anybody even knows where that's at. Literally, I wake up in the morning and there was like an alligator on the front lawn. I mean, it happened several times. So basically all I had was my flute, and that was really all I did was just practice. And music is something really, really special, and it can take you all over the world. I lived in Mexico for 12 years, and I played in a professional orchestra there, and I'm so grateful for my band directors and all my teachers for believing in me and everything that they showed me. So that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this video, especially for all those aspiring flutists in Louisiana trying out for All State. I really suggest it because it can really help. And if you need any extra help, you can contact me through Facebook Messenger, ask your mom or someone who does have Facebook, or I'll leave my email address at the bottom of the video. So hope you guys, good luck, and I hope this video helped all of you.